What's up, guys, and welcome back to another edition of Top of the Key, Episode 4. I'm your host, Sai Balabhadra Petruni, otherwise known as the Beard 2.0. And this is a very special episode because we got a very special guest today, my good friend and big Eagles fan, Dhiraj Mukkamala. How's it going, Dhiraj?
How are we? How are we? Honored to be on this episode.
Yeah, it's good to see you. How's your quarantine going?
It's going all right. Just got back from school. Living at home now. Trying to move. Trying to get out of here.
I feel that. So we got a lot to talk about today. I thought we'd go through the NFL and the NBA, but there's a lot going on in the NFL right now, Dhiraj, with Drew Brees, Colin Kaepernick, all this social justice with the Black Lives Matter movement. I just wanted to get your thoughts on the Drew Brees comments about disrespecting the flag and kneeling as a whole during the national anthem.
Yeah, I mean, I sympathize with Drew Brees a bit. I think he kind of got led into that question, and he kind of answered it kind of not really. People are saying a very tone-deaf answer and not really knowing your surroundings and the context. I think he did a good job of kind of apologizing and talking to his teammates, trying to understand where he went wrong. So I don't think Jameis Winston will be starting there. I think Drew does understand that he kind of screwed up, but at the end of the day, he made amends, and he's trying to be more of an ally to the BLM movement. And when it comes to kneeling, I mean, yeah, I completely understand why African-American players and now even like white players are backing them up when kneeling because of all the injustice that happens to these people.
Yeah, I mean, I think Brees' comments just got thrown a little bit out of proportion. Obviously, like there's nothing you can say about his intentions. He was never trying to attack anybody with his statements. He was just coming from his point of view where he saw the flag as something that he's always respected, that his family had fought in the wars, and he didn't really understand the other side and the other perspective until his teammates told him that. And once they did talk to him about it, he definitely understood and changed his stance.
Yeah, I think Malcolm Jenkins telling him to shut the fuck up was probably a wake up call for Mr. Breeze over there.
Oh yeah, I mean, props to Malcolm Jenkins. Props to all these players just coming out and like these guys are Drew Brees' teammates. Him and Michael Thomas coming out and just telling Brees that he's wrong. I think last week we were thinking this could be something that halts the Saints organization, halts their progress a little bit. I think it's actually good for them moving forward.
Yeah, I think it's good to air that sort of grievances out there. I did, however, from the situation, I did appreciate the memes that came out about Jameis Winston getting ready to take over the Saints locker room. And then also him saying he's one of the greatest quarterbacks of all time was also another nice tidbit from that issue.
I actually I was team Taysom Hill. I thought he was going to take over
Okay.
but I thought Taysom Hill could bring the Saints to the glory land. Well, Brees' comments obviously taken a little bit out of proportion. He apologized for everything that happened. We know he's a good guy, but pretty much what I've been seeing a lot of this past week from the NFL is just them trying to kind of protect their image in a way. Roger Goodell comes out with this big statement, like talking about how systemic racism needs to change and how the NFL stands behind the black community, and anything any organization would say to pretty much make themselves look good right now. But I think the real question is with Colin Kaepernick, do you think this guy's going to get signed soon? What's your opinion on the Kaepernick issue right now as it stands today?
It's a shame. This guy should have been signed as soon as he was cut from San Francisco. It's a shame that teams don't want to take a risk on someone who is vocalizing against social and racial injustice. There's not enough people of color owning NFL teams or even coaching NFL teams. And I think there's still that stigma at the quarterback position that there's not enough black quarterbacks in the NFL. Um, it's just a shame. He's so talented. I don't know if you remember that playoff game against Green Bay in Green Bay.
Oh yeah.
Where he just lit him up. Like that's like vintage Colin Kaepernick. When I think of Colin Kaepernick, he had so much talent, and it just sucks to see that the NFL wasted that talent.
Yeah, and I mean, like that game, and even the Super Bowl that they lost, they're down by like 4 touchdowns to the Ravens, and he single-handedly put them back in the game. Tremendous player, tremendous athlete, and he's still in peak physical shape. It's not that he's better than so many of the quarterbacks that we have in the league today, and the league kind of just blacklisted him. And I was thinking about this the other day about. Now the NFL kind of needs him, and it's on his plate. Like, there's a lot of people out there saying that he shouldn't take a job from the NFL right now because the NFL didn't want him when he needed them.
Yeah, exactly. And I agree with it. I totally can see why people are telling him not to take a job from the NFL now. But I think it would be even more powerful if he did play for the NFL, continued kneeling during games, and Colin Kaepernick could be a starting quarterback at many teams. Like, Colin Kaepernick is better than Jacoby Brissett and Phillip Rivers, in my opinion.
Yeah.
So he could easily start for the Colts. He could easily start for the Jags.
Anyone could start for the Jags.
Hey, I mean, you got to give it to Gardner Minshew, though. That kid balled out.
He can play. I see them maybe winning 2 games this year, but
I saw him having a little bit of that Tebow magic down there.
Yeah, I mean, he could play. He could definitely play, but I mean, there's so many teams Colin Kaepernick can start for. And even if a team's looking for a backup quarterback, he said he's open to that, and he's better than 90% of pretty much any backup quarterback.
He's better than 100% of the backups in the league.
Yeah.
I can't even think of a backup who is better than Colin Kaepernick.
I mean, if you maybe peak Ryan Fitzpatrick if he's backing up, but
yeah, yeah, Fitzpatrick maybe, because that I don't know. He's always got the Eagles number, and he's always got the Pats numbers.
I'll say he maybe week 1 and 2 Fitzpatrick.
Yeah, I agree.
But yeah, I just think at the end of the day, it's the NFL can say whatever they want unless they actually take an action and bring Kaepernick back into the league and show him the respect he deserves. And I think the NFL needs to send out a big apology to Colin Kaepernick, because I don't think there's I think it's bullshit what they say about how he wasn't blacklisted. I mean, he absolutely was.
It's them covering their asses at the end of the day. I feel like most of the administration knows they made a mistake, and if they admit to it, it'll be a media whirlwind.
Yeah. At the end of the day, I think some team's gonna sign him.
I hope so. But I don't think it'll happen.
You don't think it'll happen?
I really don't think it'll happen. I know that Pete Carroll was saying that a coach contacted him asking about Colin Kaepernick. I just, there have been whispers like that for years now. Oh, this so-and-so watched him work out, blah, 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 but it's not going anywhere. So until I see some legitimate stuff, I'm not sure.
You think the NFL's just teams are just waiting for this whole thing to blow over? And
Yeah, I do. It's sad, but it's it's the reality.
Well, there's gonna be a 30 for 30 made about this someday, and
100%.
And we're gonna see the outcomes of everything that happens. Hopefully he gets signed, but the NFL hasn't always been on the right side of history, and we've seen that through this whole national anthem kneeling movement. But I wanted to talk about that, get that out of the way. But I do want to get to some actual sports today. You're a big Eagles fan, obviously. NFC East runs through your blood. Fly, Eagles, fly. Um,
That's why I got the hat on just for this.
Absolutely, I love to see it. But the big story in the NFC East this year is going to be Eagles Cowboys.
That's it.
Dak versus Carson Wentz, both drafted in the same year. Let's hear your thoughts.
Hey, I think I mean, I'm always going to go with my man Carson. I know there's been a lot of questions of his durability. Um, hey, the guy's only missed 8 regular season games in 4 years. I think people need to start cutting him some slack. Like our man Colin Coward has said, last year he was thrown to deck chairs and lawn furniture and trash cans. And the guy down a 4-game stretch won us the division. I mean, if you saw him play in that game at the link against Dallas, backs against the wall, Dallas has us in a chokehold. He goes out and he wins a game, and he wins a game with so many injuries. I just think that Carson Wentz has that star power and firepower that Dak doesn't have. Dak can't carry a team like Carson can carry a team. Dak had to have all the stars aligned for him in his first season to go 13-3 and then lose to Aaron Rodgers in the playoffs.
No, I totally agree with you. I think the Eagles are going to win the division.
Yeah, I mean, don't get me wrong. It's for some reason the NFC East is always a toss up. I don't get it. It's perennially been like this every single year. It could be someone, you know, and there's never been back-to-back winners in this decade, which is wild. But that's the game any given Sunday, and I just think statistics wise, Carson Wentz and Dak Prescott have the same amount of touchdowns, 97, and Dak has played 8 more games.
I agree with you in the fact that I think the Eagles will win the division. I think Carson Wentz is a better quarterback than Dak Prescott. My only concern with Carson Wentz is he's never been able to finish out a season.
Yeah,
Even last year, they could have won the game against Seattle if Josh McCown hadn't played the second half.
yeah, and I think this is the season where Carson Wentz will show his durability. I mean, his O-line was beat up. His receivers were beat up. His running backs were beat up. Like, the guy was playing with no one. And he, with that kind of pressure, just seasonal pressure, and then on top of that, he has the pressure of every time he walks into the locker room, he sees a statue of Nick Foles and Doug Peterson winning a Super Bowl. Like, the guy's got monumental, boulders on his shoulders. And I think his issue is he's got Brett Favre's mentality, if you know what I'm talking about. He's a home run hitter. Yeah. He always wants to make that big play and extend the play and stuff. And sometimes, I just wish, just take the sack, or just throw the ball away. And I think it's frustrating for all Eagles fans because we know his potential, but he keeps putting himself in this hole.
Well, I mean, I don't know if you want him to take the sack. I don't think he's the guy you want to take the sack.
Yeah, but I mean, in some situations, how about you take the sack instead of twisting your knee around or something, because there's already so many questions.
Exactly. And I mean, as an Eagles fan, I wanted to get your thoughts on what would it if he keeps having these durability issues. Where's that line you draw? At what point do you say maybe we need to move on, or do you just have ultimate faith in your guy Carson Wentz?
I think you gotta. I think Howie and Doug Peterson and Jeffrey Lurie, they all have invested a lot of money, a lot of time, and we've seen what he can do. I think. Once again, only 8 missed regular season games in 4 years. It's not bad. You compare him to Aaron Rodgers in the last 3 seasons, right? And the guy's got more wins, more touchdowns, better completion percentage, better quarterback rating. And he gets slept on. It's just, that's the thorn in the rose, is that his durability has been questioned his entire career. I mean, he broke his wrist at North Dakota State. Then he comes here, tears his ACL, concussion, the whole shebang. But I think that's always been the Eagles' Achilles heel is injuries. And I think this may be the year where we look clear and I think we'll be back. I think we'll be back in the Super Bowl. And I think Carson Wentz will be the one leading us there.
I do think you're a more well-rounded team than the Cowboys. I think you're definitely a lot more healthy than you were last year. At the end of the day, if Carson Wentz did not get injured, he was the better quarterback than Nick Foles. Nick Foles benefited from an incredible system that Doug Peterson presented for himself. Another reason why he hasn't really succeeded anywhere else but Philadelphia. I think Carson Wentz still would have won the Super Bowl that year against the Patriots. But I wanted to shift to the Cowboys because I think the Cowboys have a lot of firepower and star power. I don't think they're as well-rounded. I think Jerry Jones is the type of guy to draft the star player, draft the flashy pick. We saw that with not Jerry Jeudy, CeeDee Lamb. Yeah, we saw that with CeeDee Lamb. But big questions around Dak Prescott, his contract. He wants to be paid the highest player of all time. That's
Which is absolutely ridiculous. I can't believe that he has the audacity to ask for $40 million a year. It's mind-boggling. I don't get, like, what have you done? What have you proven? You need all the stars aligned just to make the playoffs. You know, you can't. He's shown he can't carry a team. He needs Zeke. He needs Amari. You know, like I think Dallas drafting CeeDee Lamb was not only to spite the Eagles, but to keep giving him weapons. But then look at their defense. They have no DBs. They're in some serious trouble there.
No, their defense regressed a lot. Their offensive line regressed since they had like one of the best offensive lines 3 years ago. It's gotten worse.
Exactly. And they're going to be in some. I think this is where I think Dak can prove himself in the first 4 games if he deserves that kind of contract. I think we got to see something spectacular from him. If Dallas starts off 4-0 and he's firing on all cylinders, I think Jerry Jones is going to start considering it. However, bringing in Andy Dalton is definitely fuel to the fire.
Oh, that's definitely a motivating factor for Dak. I mean, if Dak doesn't work out, Andy Dalton is an underrated quarterback.
I agree with you. I agree with you 100%.
He was in a terrible situation in Cincinnati. Had nobody. AJ Green is hurt. Had no team. Terrible coaching. Terrible organization. And he got to the playoffs a few years. He did well.
Yeah, Andy Dalton is just he was plagued with not only AJ Green's injuries, but Cincinnati never had a reputable defense. They stuck with Marvin Lewis for years after mediocre playoff appearances. Andy Dalton just got stuck in a bad system. And he was a good quarterback. And it's going to be interesting to see because when he was making the playoffs, he had AJ Green, and then in the backfield, he had Gio Bernard and Jeremy Hill. And it's going to be interesting to see if he ever has to sub in for Dak, what he can do with Amari Cooper, CeeDee Lamb, and then Zeke in the backfield.
Yeah, exactly. The Cowboys have so much talent on the side. Dak's never had a team without star players in the skill positions. He's always had a pretty great O-line. Take all that away, and what do you have? He's not gonna be the guy. He's not gonna. Dak Prescott won't lose you the games. He's consistent and he's solid, but he's not great. He's not gonna win you football games.
And that's the difference between good and great. Is can he down the line carry your team and win a game?
Yeah.
And he hasn't checked that box off.
I just think it's crazy that he's asking for that much money. He absolutely doesn't deserve it. Yeah, I mean I think we both agree that the Eagles are going to win the division. So many people are high on the Cowboys. I don't really see it, and
I don't get it. I don't know how Vegas has them with the highest odds. And I'm all right with it. I'm okay with it.
Jerry Jones is definitely paying them, I think.
Huh?
Jerry Jones is paying the odds makers.
Yeah. I'm definitely fine with my team being the underdogs again. I'm all about it. I think Carson Wentz thrives in that role. I mean, the guy averages 27 touchdowns and 7 interceptions this season. He's the only quarterback in NFL history to have 3 straight seasons with more than 25 touchdowns and less than 7 interceptions.
That's that's a sign of a great quarterback. I think if he's healthy, he's gonna consistently be one of the top quarterbacks in the league every year.
I agree.
And at the end of the day, my last point about this is just that every year we see the same story. The Cowboys are the front runners going into the NFC East every single year, and they implode. They always find a way to screw up,
And you can always rely on it. You can always rely on it.
and it satisfies the rest of us so much.
Yep.
Um, so moving on, one of the things we talked about doing on this podcast was a little fun thing where we would rank the skill positions in the NFL. So I thought we'd start off with quarterback. If you want to give me your top 5 QBs in the league, Dhiraj, we'll start
Yeah,
off.
I honestly my list I think is very similar to your list. I've got Patrick Mahomes at 1, Russell Wilson at 2. I've got Carson Wentz at 3. At 4, I have Lamar Jackson, and then at 5, I have Deshaun Watson.
Okay. So I think we had our top 2 were the same, Patrick Mahomes and Russell Wilson. I think Russell Wilson is so slept on
He's and it's if he had Mahomes' weapons, he would be the best quarterback in the NFL.
oh yeah. He's got the experience too. He hasn't had the weapons for the past few years, and the Seahawks are still consistently a great team. It's
Yeah, and it's crazy to think if he just ran the ball, he would have back-to-back Super Bowls.
yeah.
Like that's just it's disappointing, but like Russell Wilson, year in and year out, has been that diamond in Seattle.
Mhm.
He's the one who's winning them games. Like in the Eagles playoff game that he played, it was him running around, extending plays. Like the Eagles pass rush is not a joke.
Yeah.
And it was him evading and making all these crazy third down throws to like Metcalf. Like it sucked in the moment, but like that's why he's been like one of my idols that I look up to because this guy can do anything and he's only 5'10".
Yeah. It's incredible to see what he's accomplished already. I think if there's any quarterback I would pick, if I'm in a game and I'm down like 3 touchdowns, if there's a quarterback I want on the field, it's Russell Wilson because he's got heart too. He's just got the biggest heart out of all those guys.
I agree with you. I think he's a great great example of heart over height. I
Yeah.
think he just has the will to win.
My number 3 was I put Aaron Rodgers up there just because I think this is going to be a redemption type of season for Aaron Rodgers.
Yeah.
I think the Jordan Love draft pick is really going to fuel that fire inside of him to kind of just get going. I mean, this guy's way too talented to only win 1 Super Bowl.
Yeah, I mean, I think that's the plight of the Packers. 2 Hall of Fame quarterbacks back to back, and only 2 Super Bowls to show for it.
Well, because I mean, at the end of the day, if you've watched the Packers draft for the past like 10, 15 years, they don't draft receivers. They don't draft the help for these quarterbacks. Devontae Adams is great. Don't get me wrong, but if you give a guy like Aaron Rodgers an arsenal of weapons like guys like Dak and Patrick Mahomes have, it's over.
Yeah, and I think now he's finally getting that. Aaron Jones is fully developed into a feature back. Devontae Adams is going to be, in my opinion, I think he's going to be a first-team All-Pro if Aaron Rodgers stays healthy.
Yeah.
And stays healthy. I think this is Rodgers' boom or bust year. I think either they go to the playoffs and they go deep, or he's passing the torch down to Love.
And I mean, what team do you think would take him after that?
So here's my I was gonna wait for this, but here's one of my hot takes is
Okay.
that Aaron Rodgers is gonna be a Patriot.
Oh wow. I don't hate the pick.
I think the Pats are gonna go 4-12 this year. I think they're gonna trade up and they're gonna draft Trevor Lawrence, and then they're gonna sign Aaron Rodgers, and they're gonna have Trevor sit behind Aaron Rodgers for a year, maybe two,
Mhm.
and then and then we're in some deep trouble.
God, that is horrifying news to my ears.
It's definitely a nightmare that I don't want to live, but that is a completely realistic possibility of the Pats going after Rodgers and getting a new 12.
That's a that's our first hot take of the day. We got more coming up later, but you heard it here first. Aaron Rodgers to the Patriots.
Yeah.
I'm gonna get fucking nightmares as an AFC East guy.
Cold sweats at night just thinking about the Patriots hosting another Lombardi. Oh man, he would
Oh
thrive in
god,
that system though.
they don't have who?
I think Aaron Rodgers would thrive in the Pats system.
Oh yeah.
He doesn't have to extend plays. He'll stay healthy the entire season. All he has to do is throw 4 yard, 5 yard slants and hope for the best. Hand the ball off 2 out of 3 downs.
And all they're asking of him is like maybe like one great bomb every 3 games.
That's it. Or they'll make Julian Edelman throw the bomb on a trick ball. They're not like that's why I think it's such a good fit for him.
Belichick's still the best coach in the league. It's not close.
He's ring chasing.
Yeah.
He doesn't care. He feels betrayed by the Packers. I mean, he's gonna do what Brett Favre did. Brett Favre went to the Jets, but then he went to the Vikings.
Almost went to the Super Bowl with the Vikings. Very close.
He should have been in the Super Bowl. Thanks to Greg Williams.
Yeah, I'm a Greg Williams fan now, but back then not at all.
Yeah, back then he's a no-no.
So finishing off my list, I had Deshaun Watson at 4 and Lamar Jackson at 5. The only reason I had Watson above Lamar Jackson is I think defenses are going to start to figure out Lamar a little bit. I want to.
I think this is the year where he can prove whether he's still like enigmatic and can make these moves and extend plays, or he's gonna have like one of those RG3 years where he was like sick and then defenses figured it out and then he was struggling.
Well, that's the thing I want to see from Lamar this year is how his passing game develops, because we know what he can do on the ground, but if at the end of the day, if a guy just runs option plays all the time, defenses are going to figure it out, and he's going to have to start throwing the ball. And that's what we saw against the Titans. He hasn't been able to have too much success in the playoffs.
Yeah.
So I want to see that development. I think Deshaun Watson's just an incredible talent already. I think the Texans are kind of screwing him over talent-wise. Bill O'Brien is, I don't know what that front office is in shambles. It's terrible.
I think we can say that Bill O'Brien is the definition of a jackass.
Yeah. He's horrible. He's horrible.
I don't get how you could trade away DeAndre Hopkins. I can't fathom that.
I think it was like an ego decision, dude. Like they didn't get along, and it was like, I'm Bill O'Brien, I'm the GM, I'm gonna get rid of you.
Yeah, and I think Bill O'Brien's got that. I mean, we know he was in the Patriots, system, and I think he's kind of growing into that junior Belichick role, where it's like my way or the highway, and I'm ready to get rid of players if they don't want to listen. And so I think you're right about kind of like the ego.
Yeah, but the thing is, like, Belichick is a coach and a GM because they've won 6 Super Bowls. Bill O'Brien makes the postseason maybe every other year, loses in the first round every year. Like, come on, man.
They got super lucky against the Bills.
Yeah.
They had a inexperienced quarterback lateraling the ball and getting sacked 2 times in a row to get pushed out of field goal range and then going for it on 4th down. Like, he got very lucky in that game.
choked against the Chiefs. Absolutely choked.
And then they got exposed. Yeah, they got exposed. That's it.
Chiefs defense isn't incredible either.
It's not. It's just the Texans defense just could not handle Mahomes, Hill, you know.
Oh, the Texans defense is pretty bad. Their secondary is terrible. They don't have a good defense. J.J. Watt's too old at this point.
Especially a pretty sight. And I made the mistake of having faith in the Texans and putting money on them. So I'm still upset about that game, but
it's tough, man. I mean, just a couple years ago it was Deshaun Watson, DeAndre Hopkins with J.J. Watt and Jadeveon Clowney on that defensive line.
Whitney Merciless,
Yeah.
They had some bad boys on that team.
Yeah. But I think that's pretty much like a good top 5, 6, I think.
Yeah, I agree. I can't really see. I mean, obviously Tampa fans are probably gonna want their boy TB12 up there, but
I think he's gonna be great this year. I don't think he's 42. He's gonna rely on. He needs a team around him.
And he does have a team around him.
Yeah.
Tampa did a really good job of making free agent acquisitions and trading, and the combo of Mike Evans and Gronkowski is going to scare the living shit out of teams.
Oh yeah, it wasn't one of my hot takes, but like, I'm on the Bucs bandwagon. I think they're gonna win it all.
I don't think they're gonna win it all, but I do think they're gonna make the playoffs. I do think they'll make the playoffs. I don't think Tom has it anymore, and we saw it against the Titans.
A big hot take of mine that I gave a couple weeks ago was I think the Bucs get into the playoffs as a wild card. I think the Saints win the division, but they win the Super Bowl as a wild card.
Oh wow. I would probably not watch football for a little. I would probably give up football for a couple years if that happened.
I actually, the thing is, like, I couldn't see myself rooting for the Patriots. I could see myself sort of rooting for a Brady Bucs team in certain situations, but it'll be fun to see. But what I want to get to is top 5 running backs. I think this is a fun discussion to be had.
Yeah, and you go first this time.
Yeah, sure. My top 5, I got number 1, Derrick Henry. I think he's just a monster. I think he's going to prove himself this year as the best running back in the league. I think he's shown flashes of it the last couple seasons where he's had like a mediocre first half of the season, like for the past couple years, and then just exploded with like back-to-back 150-yard, 200-yard games. It's absurd to see. Number 2, I think I got Ezekiel Elliott just because he's been at the top for 4 years. He's been consistently good. He's might have regressed a little bit, has struggled a little bit more recently, but I think he's still one of the best running backs in the league. 3rd, I got Christian McCaffrey. I think he was like he had to have been like the best running back last year. He was unstoppable. He was pretty much the Panthers' offense. When you get down to it. Number 4, I got Saquon Barkley. I think he's the future. He hasn't really shown what he can do completely yet. I think the Giants' offensive line slightly got better, which will help him. But I think we have more to see from Saquon. But I'm putting him up there just from a talent level. I don't think he was the 4th best running back last year by any means. But I think from a talent level, he's up there. Number 5, I got Nick Chubb. I think he was an absolute monster last year. Baker struggled a lot, and I think he helped the Browns achieve whatever they did. So, that's my top 5.
I like that. So in my top 5, I've got Christian McCaffrey at 1. I think he's the best running back in the NFL. I think 2,000 all-purpose yards is a very hard feat to do, and he did it. At number 2, I have Saquon Barkley. I think if he stays healthy, that kid can carry the Giants anywhere. Dan Jones is definitely a up-and-coming quarterback. I think he's got a lot of potential. I think the Giants actually made a good move drafting him instead of Dwayne Haskins.
Dwayne Haskins is going to be a huge bust.
He's a bust. Apparently, he can't even read the playbook. I got Barkley in at 2. I'd say Derrick Henry is my 3rd for sure. In that playoff stretch, my God, unbelievable. teams were game planning just for him. They would stack the box with 9 guys, and he
Well,
would still somehow find a way to burst a 6-yard run.
well, everyone was talking about how Ryan Tannehill had a great season last year. Ryan Tannehill was throwing for like 70 yards in a lot of those games, and Derrick Henry was just getting the ball every play.
Yeah, he was. I mean, he probably had a great season handing the ball off. Like that's about it. Um, and then I gave my number 4, right? All right, and then at my oh no, I gave my top 3. My number
Yeah.
4 would be um, Aaron Jones.
Okay.
Aaron Jones, I think, is an up and coming star. I think Green Bay is going to start leaning on him a little more. I think he's a dual threat, catching and running the ball. And his game against Dallas, my God, he popped off. And I think, we're going to see a lot more games like that with Green Bay's line becoming a little better and Rodgers getting a little older. They're gonna start relying on him. And I think he's got the potential to be top 3.
I love that.
And then at 5, I have Zeke.
Okay. I don't hate this. Zeke could kind of go anywhere for me, just because.
Yeah, I think historically speaking, we tend to put Zeke in the category, but from just last season, he was like, okay, he was a good running back.
I put Zeke at 2 solely for the reason that he's had more longevity than any of these guys. I think the guys that started out with Zeke, like Gurley and Kamara, have struggled more last year. They've been getting hurt.
I think Kamara is definitely a 6. I think he's right there.
Yeah.
He's close to cracking that list. If he can just stay healthy, he'll be fine.
Well, he's a dual threat. He's such a threat in the passing game.
Yeah, and I think now that it's kind of just him, he'll emerge.
Yeah. Kamara's great. I think Gurley struggled. I don't see him really getting back to the level where he was ever at.
Yeah. Yeah, I think 2 running backs to look out for are Austin Eckler and Miles Sanders. I think those 2 backs are going to have some serious breakout seasons.
Yeah. I think there's a lot of talent in running back in the league. You got guys also like Marlon Mack, who's been playing well for the Colts.
Yep.
Dalvin Cook has been playing great for the Vikings.
He's holding out though, so we'll see.
I mean, we'll see. 49ers have a great running game too. I mean, I think Monster could be a monster.
Yeah, I mean, he could also just kind of be like a one-hit wonder.
Could be, yeah. We'll see. Give me your top 5 wide receivers.
1 second. Let me just open up my list again. Okay. So at number 1, I've got Michael Thomas, obviously. People say his route running isn't as good because all he does is run slants and whatever. But if you look at it, his yards after catch is unbelievable. The guy will catch a 3-yard slant and turn it into a 60-yard play. He's got sure hands, great hands, big frame, durable. He's number 1. It's plain and simple.
He had like 1,700 yards receiving last year. It was way above whoever was second.
He almost won the Triple Crown for receivers, and there's no one better. Number 2 is probably Julio Jones as well. Julio is just Julio. That's the guy. The guy is. I don't know how he stuck around in Atlanta for this long.
Dude, his career kind of reminds me of like a Calvin Johnson in a way.
Yeah, I agree with you. Obviously more playoff appearances, more playoff wins, a Super Bowl appearance, and even in that Super Bowl, he balled out. Julio has also kind of had injuries here and there. On top of that, Matt Ryan is not as consistent as he used to be. Atlanta's kind of falling apart, the whole ordeal. But talent-wise, statistics-wise, Julio Jones is number 2. Easy money.
Yeah.
At number 3, I'm actually going to put DeAndre Hopkins.
Okay.
I think DeAndre Hopkins is a game changer. I think he's made some catches that I've never seen in my life before. I think that he'll have a good season this year. I think. And I mean, it sucks that he doesn't have Deshaun Watson throwing to him anymore, but he's DeAndre Hopkins. Like the talent is there, the hands are there, the
Kyler
big
Murray's
playability
talented.
is there. What'd you say?
Kyler Murray's talented. I mean, he's not going to a terrible situation or
Yeah,
anything like
and
that.
and it's going to be interesting to see like Kyler Murray trying to extend plays, getting out of the pocket. DeAndre Hopkins is going to be able to get open downfield a lot,
Yeah.
especially with Larry Fitzgerald on the field too.
Oh, exactly. Unbelievable that Larry Fitzgerald is still in the NFL.
Yeah, and playing at the level he's playing at.
Yeah. Um,
So at my number 4, I have Odell. I
okay.
think you can't have this. You can't have a top 5 list without Odell. Um, he's the talent is just it's unreal, and I know that he had a off season last year, and a lot of troubles with like coaches and off the field and all this. But I think this is the year Odell comes back, and he comes back strong. I think Baker's going to have a comeback year. I think the Browns are looking good, and they're poised to be a wild card team. I've got a lot of faith in them, and I've got a lot of faith in Odell. So yeah, I think he's my number 4, and then number 5 is probably Devonte Adams. I think Devonte Adams is going to have a great year. I think Green Bay is also one of those teams they could easily win the division if Minnesota implodes, but I think they're kind of in the wild card running as well. Um, and I mean, just having Aaron Rodgers throwing to you, that's just the biggest difference. So I think Devonte Adams will round out the list, but I think I cannot disrespect Mike Evans like this. And so I'm going to have him and Devonte tied at 5.
Yeah, I think I like your list for the most part. I think Devonte Adams for me is like a 6-7 kind of guy. I have Michael Thomas and Julio Jones at number 1 and 2. I think Julio Jones has just been dealt a bad hand. That's why nobody's really been talking about him as much lately. I got Mike Evans at 3. I think when you have a guy who's more consistent at quarterback, it's going to even raise your level even more. He missed 4 games last year, and he still was at the very top of the receiving stats for the wide receivers. I had Amari Cooper at number 4. I think the guy's just a workhorse. I think he's one of those guys you can have in like your 4 through 7, 8. I think he's great. He's gonna be a huge focal point for the Dallas offense anyway. So, so I had him at 4. I had DeAndre Hopkins at 5. Obviously, Hopkins is incredibly talented. I did want to touch up on one of yours. I was definitely considering Odell. I didn't forget Odell. Problem I have with Odell is I didn't want to make my list a talent list. If it was a talent list, I think Odell would be like 1.
But I mean,
one or two.
even production wise, like if you look back, even last year was considered an off year. He had like 900 and something yards.
I think he's regressed a little bit since he's been in Cleveland.
Yeah.
I don't know.
I don't disagree with you. I just think that like Baker went through that sophomore slump, but I think this list is not only just like talent, but it's also anticipation.
Okay. Well, I agree with you there. I just I also think about anticipation, and my issue is that you're not gonna agree with me.
I know you're not a big Baker guy.
I think Baker could be a bust. I don't think he's very good. We'll see this year. They beefed up their offensive line a little bit to help him out. It's just I can't see how you have Jarvis Landry and Odell Beckham Jr. and you still can't make things work.
It's team chemistry at the end of the day. I think I believe that Baker did not do enough. I think he was coming off his first season cocky, like he played well. He's the hot shot in Cleveland. Everyone loves him. First overall pick, Heisman, and he came in and he wasn't prepared. And you could see it on the field. He looked like he had no idea what was going on at times. I think that was so embarrassing for him that he's going to come back this year, and I think Cleveland's going to go 10-6.
Okay. I still have the Browns missing the playoffs. I don't believe in Baker Mayfield, but I respect the opinion. I could see him playing well. I don't. Consistency isn't something that I see from Baker Mayfield, and that's a big thing that you need.
I agree with you. I mean, he's got a lot to prove. Don't get me wrong. I have a lot of faith in him because I know he's a winner. I think he's got a great attitude. He's got a good team built around him. And I think having Kitchens as his coach was the dumbest decision that could have been made.
Just poor management from the Browns on that part. I just wanted to close out the wide receiver list with another guy that I thought is in the mix there, and like that 6 through 10 that we didn't really mention or talk about. I think from a production standpoint, Adam Thielen is an incredible receiver. I think he's
I totally agree with you. I think he's had the plate of having Kirk Cousins as his quarterback, especially on primetime.
Yeah.
But yeah, no, I agree with you. Adam Thielen is a lot of talent. He's getting a little old now, which is, concerning, but not as much.
I mean, he was hurt for a lot of last year. In against the Saints, he still had a great game.
Yeah, he when he's on the field, he balls out, and he's one of the most underrated receivers in the NFL.
Undrafted.
Yeah, undrafted, exactly. And I think him and T.Y. Hilton are in the same category.
Yeah. I think the T.Y. Hilton was literally the only Colts receiver for like 4 or 5 years. I don't know why they didn't get anyone else, but
T.Y. Hilton is one of the most underrated receivers in the NFL.
He's great. But I wanted to move on to quickly before we get to the NBA. I wanted to get your super early Super Bowl predictions.
My super early Super Bowl predictions. All right. So I personally believe that the Chiefs will be back in the Super Bowl.
Okay.
I think the AFC is, especially without the Pats, is wide open. And I think the Chiefs have so much firepower, great coach. Now they've got that Super Bowl under their belt, and they know how it feels. And I think Mahomes, if he stays healthy, that team is going to be incredible. Not to say that, Baltimore, shouldn't be there, but I just think that I think you and I are on the same wavelength, but we think that Lamar Jackson is kind of going to get figured out this year. So I don't think the Ravens have as great of a year as they did last year. And on that, I think Mahomes leads the Chiefs to the Super Bowl as the first bye. And I think he'll be playing the Eagles. I gotta tell you, man. I think the Birds have a lot of firepower. I think if they stay healthy and Carson Wentz plays to the level that we all know he can play to, look out, NFL. That's going to be a dangerous team.
I absolutely agree with you about the Chiefs.
And don't get me wrong, I'm going to say it now. There is full bias behind my statement. However, I just statistically wise, the Eagles have been in the playoffs.
Yeah.
They're a playoff team. They're 3 years in a row. They're experienced. They've been hurt. They could have easily beaten Seattle. And even you go 2 years back, they could have easily beaten the Saints. One drop, and that changed the game. They're an experienced team. We still got a lot of veterans. The defense is looking good. We went out. We got corners. We boosted the secondary. I think we drafted well. I think receivers wise, finally, we kind of have like this arsenal of receivers that Wentz can throw to. Running backs we got, offensive line we got. Our tight ends we have the best tight end duo in the league with Dallas Goedert and Zach Ertz.
Yeah, I think Zach Ertz is maybe the third best tight end in the league behind Travis Kelce and George Kittle.
Yeah, that's it.
But yeah, I think Eagles are great. I've got the Chiefs playing. I don't know why I'm so high on the Bucks.
On the Bucks. Okay.
I'm torn. I've got an NFC Championship, and I'm torn between the Bucks and the Seahawks, but I'm going Bucks. I think the Seahawks are going to be incredible next year.
I agree with you.
But I'm going Bucks, just because I think Brady didn't have any weapons last year at all. That Patriots team was all defensive. He
Yeah.
didn't have anyone to throw the ball to. Edelman was maybe the only guy, but he was hurt. He's got weapons. And the thing is, Tom Brady isn't the same guy he was even 4 years ago. But he's got experience. He knows how to play the game of football, and he knows he's a great decision maker. And at the end of the day, I think he can still make those one or two passes at the end of a game that'll help his team win. And he's got the weapons to do it. I think when you look at the Bucs defense, people think of the Bucs defense as not a great defense, but at the end of the day, yes, they gave up a lot of points, but that's because Jameis Winston turned the ball over on like their own 20.
That's so true.
You can't play defense when you have no field position ever.
Yeah, I agree with you. I agree with you 100%. I think the Bucs are a viable playoff team. I just think the NFC is just stacked.
Yeah.
And it's going to be so hard to see like who comes out. I mean, you got the Saints, you got the Bucs, you got the Packers, you've got Seahawks, 49ers, Eagles, Cowboys. You know, there's just so many teams that can fight for these spots. I just think that out of the teams in the NFC, it's going to be the Eagles and the 49ers and the Seahawks who have the most experience. And those are going to be the three teams to kind of fight it out.
Yeah, I think you're spot. I totally see where you're coming from. A big part of the reason I'm going behind the Bucs is for the story aspect of it. I think it's a great story, but I think they're a good team. We'll see what happens.
Story.
Yeah, no, exactly. I think the 49ers are gonna have a little bit of a slump. They had that Super Bowl, and they kind of choked it away a little bit.
Yeah, and I mean that just comes to having a game plan against Patrick Mahomes. I think you can never count him out. He'll always be there knocking on the door. I think if you're talking about a storyline Super Bowl, I think a living nightmare for all football fans would be a Pats-Bucs Super Bowl.
Yeah.
I think we would be in some serious trouble. I don't even think I would watch the Super Bowl. I wouldn't know who to root for.
I would definitely root for Brady over Belichick. Belichick is the greatest villain.
I don't know who I hate more. I don't know if I hate Brady or Belichick more. It's tough. It's a toss up.
Well, there you got it. Those are the NFL Super Bowl predictions from us. We both got the Chiefs, but we're teetering between the Bucs and the Eagles here.
Bird, baby.
I do want to get to the NBA though, because that's what's coming up soon. End of July, NBA is gonna restart. I'm so excited.
I'm pumped.
22 teams, 9 from the Eastern Conference, 13 from the West. Really interesting stuff. What are your thoughts?
I don't know. I think what they did was fair, considering that like a lot of the bottom teams in the East are like literally trash cans.
Yeah.
I think including Portland and New Orleans and Phoenix, you get a lot of like these young stars who like have that playoff talent, but they don't have the team built around them yet. And so it kind of gives them an opportunity to showcase what they can do. Devin Booker can take over a game by himself, Portland, you got Dame, who can also do the same thing. They've both got these microwave traits from 2K. It's unreal what they can do. New Orleans, I think having Zion in this kind of tournament is a great sight to see. I think seeing the young Pelicans battle it out against a lot of these experienced teams will be very interesting. So I like the setup. I'm not really complaining. I think the East has the right teams and the West has the right teams to play it out. So I have no complaints about the format. I mean, I'm just I'm glad I don't have to see the Knicks play.
No, exactly. I think I'm totally fine with the format because at the end of the day, I don't want to see trash games. Like I don't want to see like the
highly competitive games.
I don't want to see the Timberwolves play the Hawks. I don't want to see that game.
Exactly.
And at the end of the day, 22 is a weird number, but I'm just glad the NBA is back. It could be like I don't care too much for like the Kings, Spurs, and the Suns, but like if you're gonna set a rule that all the teams 6 games back are gonna come back, then I understand you have to follow that rule. East isn't that interesting. I do think the Wizards making the playoffs over the Magic would be more fun because you could get some 50-point Bradley Beal games, which would be nice, I guess. The Magic are pretty boring, but it really the exciting aspect.
Magic are boring, but they play some gritty basketball down there.
Yeah,
in Orlando.
They play well. Don't get me wrong. Like for a bottom of the playoffs Eastern Conference team, they're solid.
Yeah.
But like the Nets and the Magic aren't really teams that anyone's taking seriously in the playoffs. It's those top 6 teams that are really any threat. But then you got the but what I'm really watching for is the Grizzlies, Blazers, Pelicans. How that's gonna play out. I think
those young teams, and even I think you got to throw the Suns in the category too. I think it's those super young teams that have kind of like these talented stars, lurking around. I think those can be the sleepers.
Those are guys that can definitely play up at I don't really buy the Suns all that much just because they're so young. Booker's been there for a while now, a little.
Yeah, Booker's only like 24, I think.
Yeah, he's pretty young.
And he has DeAndre Ayton too.
He's young. I just it'll be interesting to see that the Suns as an organization, they kind of remind me of the Eastern Conference version of the Knicks a little bit. But
I wouldn't say they're that bad.
They're not that bad. No.
I would say they're the Eastern Conference version of the Hawks.
Yeah, young. Yeah, I see where you're coming from there. Young, not fully developed, have a great star player. They've got a long ways to go. It'll be interesting. Obviously, when you have guys like that, guys like Devin Booker, they're not going to show up during the regular season in like a 5-game stretch, but they'll try and show up for bigger games where something's on the line. So
yeah, and I think this is what makes this whole kind of tournament interesting. Is that it's kind of like football now. It's like almost like any given Sunday. Yeah. Like you can show up and you can be cold and, not shoot well and shoot like 7 for 24, or you can show up and you play lights out and that one win is worth so much more.
Exactly. And I mean, it's going to be interesting to see how they do the play-in tournament. I like how they have those regular season games to start because if they just started with a play-in tournament and it's just like a single elimination game and then somehow the Suns beat the Grizzlies and beat everyone and make it like I don't like that particularly, but I like how they set it up a little bit. Every game's going to be pretty good. Those 8 teams that are garbage aren't coming, which is going to be nice.
Which is good. Now we're kind of cutting it down to quality basketball. Quality competition.
Yeah, and it's going to be really fun to see. Obviously, most of those 22 teams though aren't serious contenders. I want to get your thoughts on who you think the serious contenders are. Eastern Conference Finals, Western Conference Finals, NBA Finals. Give me your picks.
Okay, so in the Eastern Conference Finals, I have Milwaukee versus my 76ers. Okay. In the Western Conference, it's going to be Lakers Clippers. I don't see it any other way. I think those two teams are, clash of the Titans. LeBron versus Kawhi, it's going to be a great matchup. But yeah, going back to the Eastern Conference, I can see why people are hating on the Sixers. 6th seed, not as good as they were last year, blah, blah, blah. If you look at the Sixers, if they play the way they play at home, they're going to be there. If they pull up and they play like they do when they're away, it's over. We're shot. It's shot. We're not even going to make it into kind of like the seeding. But I think if push comes to shove and they play the way that they play when we're at home, it's going to be Sixers Milwaukee, and then I think finals is going to be Milwaukee Lakers.
And your pick to win?
Lakers.
I don't.
Yeah, I think this is the kind of situation LeBron thrives in.
Exactly. I think the Lakers are really the front runner here. I'm going to go a little differently.
Okay.
Eastern Conference. God, I swear to you, the Sixers are my least favorite team. I and you probably feel very similarly about the Celtics, but I hate the Sixers so much.
Hey, it's vice versa, man. I can't say that I don't hate the Celtics because I'd be lying through my teeth.
And that's one of those things I was thinking about when the whole the idea of 1 through 16 reseeding was coming out. I was very against it because I think there are very strong entrenched rivalries in the NBA.
Yeah.
And one of those being Sixers Celtics. I think Sixers Celtics is a big rivalry.
I think the last 3 years that rivalry has so much fire underneath it now.
And that's the best first round series potentially of the playoffs. Definitely almost.
I agree with you. I think it would be nice to beat you guys in a series again.
I mean, look, at the end of the day, Eastern Conference. I don't think the Sixers can beat the Celtics in a 7-game series. I think they're too inconsistent. The Celtics have been more consistent. They're pretty stacked across the board. A lot of scorers, a lot of weapons. I have the Celtics in the Eastern Conference against Milwaukee. I think the Celtics are the only team that can beat Milwaukee in a 7-game series. I know I'm a little biased, but I'm taking the Celtics to go to the NBA Finals. And in the Western Conference Finals, I got the Lakers against the Rockets. I think the Houston Rockets.
Wow! Oh my God! No, you're not gonna say this.
I think the Houston Rockets are vastly underrated in these playoffs.
Dude, you think the Rockets are gonna beat the Lakers? If anything, the Clippers are gonna beat the Lakers.
No, I said Lakers against Rockets in the West Finals. I think the Rockets beat the Clippers.
No, but I'm saying, who do you think are like?
Oh yeah, I do think the Rockets will make the finals after that, but
Oh my God!
I think you got.
that should be one of your hot takes.
Yeah, dude, I have like so many hot takes. My hot takes are actually a little weaker, I guess, than these hot takes I'm coming out with right now.
I think right now it's important to have hot takes because we honestly have no idea how this is gonna shape.
Oh, absolutely. But I think Russell Westbrook, James Harden, this is the type of duo that'll come together in the playoffs more than the regular season. I think they're kind of just dicking around in the regular season a little bit. I think a big question about Harden has been his playoff performance. I think he's going to be well rested. He lost a lot of weight over the quarantine. He looks very good.
He looks like the Slim Reaper, man.
Yeah, dude, it's crazy how he looks. And I think when he gets a little tired, Russ will take over. Russ is just a freight train. Look, I think people are sleeping on the Houston Rockets. I'm taking them to go to the finals. Rockets over Celtics in 7. Harden wins his first chip.
I think that would be an interesting outcome, and it wouldn't just be Harden winning his first chip.
Westbrook winning his first chip too.
Ross winning his first chip. I think. I mean, hey, that's a great outcome. I mean, it sucks that they're up there, but
Even if they beat the Celtics, like the Rockets, I'm a little biased because the Rockets are my second favorite team too. So like I love both of these teams. I would love a Celtics Rockets final. Root for the Celtics, but wouldn't be upset if the Rockets won.
I wish based on the seeding or whatever that it could have been Celtics Sixers Eastern Conference Finals. That would have been crazy.
It would have been crazy, but look, Milwaukee's so tough to beat.
I know, but hey, we saw Milwaukee choke very hard against Toronto last year.
Look, the problem with Milwaukee is there's a way to stop Giannis, and it's just, you have to crowd the paint very hard, and Giannis needs his supporting cast to help him out. If Middleton needs to average like 25 points for them to win.
I agree with you.
Bledsoe needs to show up. Like other guys need to play really well for Milwaukee to win. That's why one-man shows never win in the NBA, because you need a supporting cast.
Yeah, I agree with you.
Yeah.
I think it'll be interesting to see. I'm just hyped that basketball's back. I've been waiting for a while. Need to see my Sixers play. Ben Simmons is looking jacked. I think I think we're gonna be looking good. I mean, I don't know what it is about Philadelphia, man, but it's just all about staying healthy. I feel like our teams just can never be healthy.
Oh, the break definitely helps Embiid out a lot.
Yeah, 100%. He needed a stretch like that.
It's
But
also
I think the format is perfect for the Sixers.
oh I agree with you, but I just never understood why your front office makes Joel Embiid play through so many injuries. Like, give the guy a break sometime. Um, but yeah, that's it's gonna be really exciting to get NBA back. But we're nearing the end of this podcast. I wanted to go through our remaining hot takes. Take the floor.
All right, so here's a hot take for you. Miles Sanders leads the league in all-purpose yards at the end of the season.
Miles Sanders.
I think Miles Sanders will lead the league in all-purpose yards. I think he's emerging into his role as kind of our feature back. We saw how he played last year. He was incredible, catching the ball out of the backfield, running the ball, and that was like rotating too. He wasn't our true starter, but I think he does that. Then he does kick returns. I think he's got a lot of talent, and the Eagles are looking fresh. I think that's a hot take of mine. I think Miles Sanders leads the league in all-purpose yards.
Pretty good hot take. I think I've given out better hot takes than the ones I'm about to give out. I had Russell Wilson will win the MVP. I don't think that's that much of a hot take at this
I
point.
don't. Yeah, but hey, honestly, it is because Russell Wilson has never gotten a first place vote for MVP.
Yeah, he hasn't. I mean, he's kind of just always been great, but always played second fiddle to another guy. I think he's finally gonna get it done this year.
Yep.
But I did want to come out with this one. I think Zion balls out. Pelicans grab the 8th seed in the West. Everyone's talking about the Blazers and the Grizzlies. I think the Pelicans grab that 8th seed. I think Zion's going to be incredible. He's going to be well rested, healthy. I think they'll push the Lakers to like 6 games.
Yeah, I like that. I've got one for you.
All right.
I think AD wins Finals MVP.
I don't hate it.
Yeah, I think Anthony Davis wins Finals MVP. I think LeBron has been balling out this season, kind of doing that consistent 27-7,
Yeah.
7. But AD has been that game changer for LeBron. He's the guy who's getting those rebounds and putting up like 35. So I think AD will win. I think AD's kind of like that Shaq to LeBron's Kobe.
If the Lakers win the championship, I think you're right. I did want to get your thoughts of regular season MVP. LeBron or Giannis, who's your guy?
LeBron. I think it's a shame that this man has been gypped out of so many MVPs, especially kind of like in that 20, actually maybe even like that 2009 to like 2015 range. LeBron should have like 6 MVPs, man.
Yeah.
The guy is day in, day out, arguably the best player in the NBA, and people are scared to play him. The things he can do on the basketball court, it's just incredible. Watching that MJ documentary, like a lot of people were like, "Oh yeah, this is why MJ's the GOAT." I'm like, "Yo, listen, man. I personally have never gotten to see MJ play live, but I have gotten to see LeBron play live, and it's like poetry in motion when he plays."
I think MJ is the GOAT, just what he's been accomplished. Obviously, he had a much better team. Front office was better with Chicago. LeBron's never had a front office like that. Cleveland had a pretty bad front office.
LeBron's never had a team like that.
Yeah. No, absolutely not. The Bulls were a super team. The Bulls were the first super team.
Yeah, people argue, oh, Miami's, big three, Chris Bosh and Dwayne Wade. Yeah, give me Dennis Rodman over Chris Bosh, man.
Yeah.
Any day of the week. Any day of the week. Give me Horace Grant over Chris Bosh.
Yeah, no, I totally agree with you. And he's had good players along him, but he hasn't had the Bulls style players around him.
Yeah, I mean,
I
hey,
think,
it's definitely a toss-up when it comes to Wade and Pippen. I
yeah.
think they're both like kind of that same caliber player. But he's just. I think you're right. I think you have made a great point where the Bulls front office is just that front office was incredible.
And that's why I said Jordan is the GOAT. I mean, 6 championships speaks for itself. 2 straight three-peats. He could have won more if the team had stuck together. I think LeBron's the most complete player. I think overall, as a talent, LeBron can do more on the basketball court than Jordan can. He's a better decision maker. He's a better leader. He's always going to make the right basketball move.
Yeah, I agree with you. I agree with you 100%.
Yeah. I'm going to give you my last hot take. Derrick Henry will break the single-season rushing record of Eric Dickerson's 2,105 yards this season.
Wow. Okay. That's definitely a hot take. I don't think he'll have that kind of season. I think he'll have a good season, don't get me wrong. I think he's one of the best running backs in the NFL. But I can't see him having I think he'll have like 1,400 yards.
I think he had like 850-yard type of games last year.
He did, and that's the thing, bro. Running backs are kind of like those shooting stars.
Yeah.
They play incredibly well for like that, whatever.
It's the way I look at it though is he was having like the first 8 games or so, he was like putting up like 30, 40 yards, 60 yards. And then he just goes on the stretch for like 10 straight games where he's going 150, 200. Like
yeah, and that's the thing. If he does that, then yeah. But I don't think he will. I think he's definitely going to have those games where he gets stifled by a great front seven.
Yeah, I think.
But I think it's a great hot take. For sure. I think he's got the potential to run for 2,000 yards.
Yeah, I just see him, his style of play, and I don't know. He's got the size and the speed. He's great.
Here's my final hot take. I think to end this and kind of end, where I'm at, Carson Wentz will be the MVP of the NFL.
A lot of Eagles takes here today.
Yeah, baby, dude, it's gonna be a huge Philadelphia year. I'm telling you right now. Philadelphia is coming out of COVID-19, all guns blazing.
All right, I don't hate it. I don't agree, but I think it's a good take. I still got Russell Wilson winning the MVP. I think Carson Wentz is gonna have a great season. He is staying healthy at the end of the day, and I think he will this year. I think he'll be a little more durable. But yeah, those are some great hot takes. Great time going through NBA and NFL today. We want to finish off the show today with some power rankings. So yeah, do you want to read some of these off too?
Okay, 10. We got the Phoenix Suns, the Knicks of the NBA restart.
I think they are. I don't know. Their franchise just like screams to me like they're the Knicks of the West a little bit, but that's just from the reputation standpoint. I think they've done a lot better than the Knicks from a management aspect and talent side. But yeah, number 9.
At number 9, we got Baker Mayfield, the biggest bust award winner.
I think yeah, he's the top of the key recipient of the biggest bust award. He is. I know Dhiraj is a big Baker guy. Not big, but he thinks the Browns are going to be good this season. I am a little hesitant to say that. I think he had a solid first year. He gotten a little cocky. I'm not saying he's Johnny Manziel like, but he definitely gives me. I don't see consistency from Baker Mayfield. I see him having a great game or two here and there, but I don't see him when the going gets tough, when it matters the most. He comes up big. I don't see that happening. I think he had so much talent last year with him, and he wasn't able to do much at all. But we will see. It'll be interesting. The Browns are in contention in that NFC North. Personally, I have the Steelers a little bit ahead of them. But it'll be interesting to see Big Ben back. Number 8.
Number 8, we got Zimbabwe national cricket team, currently ranked 11th, failed to qualify for 2019 World Cup.
They did. They didn't qualify for the 2019 World Cup, but they're still a solid cricket team. I think. I don't really follow cricket all that much, but they seem they seem that like they've been able to put the pieces together this year for a run in 2023.
Zimbabwe is like the NFL's Browns. I think they've got some pieces, and they're just looking for that chemistry. And I'm telling you right now, they're going to be looking hot in the 2023 World Cup.
I love it. Number 7, I've got my boy Dhiraj Mukkamala. I put you on the power rankings this week for joining us as our special guest. It's been a pleasure to having you on this podcast today. So yeah, thank you so much for coming out today.
The pleasure is all mine.
Number 6, Skinny Jokic. This is a crazy concept.
Skinny Jokic. The Joker is looking crazy. He's looking in really good shape, and he's looking to put in some minutes.
The NBA is not ready for Skinny Jokic. I think this takes the Nuggets to a whole new level.
Yeah, I agree. Jamal Murray and Skinny Jokic, that's a scary team.
It's going to be fun to see. Number 5, I've got flopping. I think the art of flopping is underrated. A lot of guys do it well. I think James Harden has championed it.
And I think that we tend to consider flopping here in the States we kind of relate it only to basketball, but flopping in soccer is so graceful, and there's so much drama and passion and emotion behind it. And I think that is the epitome of the art of flopping.
It's an art in itself. If you're good at it, I don't think anyone can give you shit.
Do it. Flop. Do it. Get your team the advantages it needs.
If you do it well, do it. Give me from number 4 and 3.
At number 4, we have Aaron Andrews. Unbelievable interviewing skills. She's got unbelievable interviewing skills for sure. I love. Have you seen those clips of Aaron Rodgers flirting with her?
Oh yeah.
Making interviews. My God, great Aaron Andrews, great talk show host, great interviewer. I'll give that to her.
She's a big fan. I'm a big fan.
At number 3, we have ball legend, first Indian to play in the NBA, Sim Bhullar. I don't think Sim Bhullar can run up and down the court twice. I think Sim Bhullar eats too much naan and rajma, and I just don't think oh man, what a disappointment. We need a guard. We need an Indian guard, bro. That's what we need.
He had a 10-day contract with the Kings, and I think he played like 4 games for like 2 minutes each.
We need like a 5'10" American-born sharpshooter.
What?
Named like Krishna Ramaswamy or something. Like, ball out. I would buy that jersey so fast.
Oh, I'd be the first one to get it. I think look, you said it, like it needs to be like American born, because all these guys coming from India are like 7'7", 300 pounds, can't run.
Yeah, dude, they just can't keep up with the pace of the game. I actually think Sim Bhullar is born in Canada.
Yeah.
But Satnam Singh was supposed to be another guy.
Yeah.
And he busted as well. It's disappointing because we have such a big country and such a lack of representation in Major League sports.
Well, that's just, no one cares about sports there. They're all I don't know, everyone's in poverty. Yeah, Sim Bhullar, great. Not great. I don't know.
We have
number 2 is myself.
Our gracious host.
Number 2 is me. I think through this podcast, I've really been able to become an inspiration to all the youth.
I agree. I think YMCAs are virtually watching this right now.
Oh, everyone's watching this, and they want to become the next
Beard 3.0.
They want to, yeah. They want to become the next YouTube podcast host that averages 30 to 35 views a week.
I think James Harden is gonna love you for this episode. I think you gotta tag him in it. Put the minute down where you said he's gonna win the NBA championship, and I think he's gonna love you forever because I don't think anybody has the Rockets winning.
I hope he appreciates the beard as well. I think that'll.
Yeah, you might have to take off the Boston jersey first.
Hey, I did say they were gonna beat Boston in the
Yeah, you
final.
did. Yeah.
I gave him that.
James Harden is my favorite player. Celtics are my favorite team.
Hey, that's respectable. You're growing out the beard just for him.
Yeah. Number 1, I have Colin Kaepernick. I kind of not quoting Batman here, but like similar to like what was said in Batman. He's the hero the NFL needs but doesn't deserve. The NFL does not deserve Colin Kaepernick right now.
I agree with you.
Definitely need him right now, but it's up to him. I think if I were him, I probably wouldn't play just out of spite, but I think he should just because he'd be such an inspiration this year to everyone.
Yeah, I think a lot of people of color, black people especially, like really want him to kind of get that opportunity again to play at an elite level.
Yeah. And he honestly, if he comes back, he's the guy that everyone's rooting for. Like whatever team he's on.
I mean, everyone who isn't against kneeling.
Well, yeah. I mean,
and there's surprisingly a lot of people like that.
Yeah, I mean, there's going to be people on both sides, but at the end of the day, this is bigger than football. And
I think he's okay with making enemies.
Yeah. So outside of our top 10, I wanted to give a couple that didn't make our top 10 that I thought were still pretty prominent. Number 888 was Joseph Stalin. Pretty bad guy. Not a huge fan, to be honest. He wasn't great to his teammates. Not a great leader. Just a bad dude. Kind of championed the whole Soviet Russia thing.
I think he just had too much pride in himself and not his country.
Exactly. And when you gotta play for your country, man. That's right.
He became an egomaniac.
Yeah. And right below Stalin at 889, little drum roll here. You guessed it. It's J.R. Smith.
J.R. Smith, baby. That's my man. Went to the same middle school as him. Let's go.
NBA champion J.R. Smith. Also, like, people forget.
NBA champion, 6th man of the year, J.R. Smith. Oh, man.
And high during a game.
What a character. Henny God himself.
Yeah. But yeah, that's my power rankings. And I just want to thank Dhiraj again for coming out on our show today. We had a great time. I hope everyone else enjoyed it. And NBA starting soon. NFL is going to start in the fall. This is really exciting to just talk about all these different things. We love sports. I know you guys all love sports too. So again, big thank you to Dhiraj for coming out.
Yeah, thank you. Everyone should start texting their bookies. Now it's time to gamble.
Let's go. Yeah. And again, I just wanted to say if you like what you saw, subscribe to my channel, like the video, give me a comment or two telling me how much you love me or how much you hate me. And I just love to get your feedback and thoughts. This was Top of the Key, episode 4. We'll be back next week. Thank you so much, guys, and have a great night.